Great pass. What a catch!
My goodness.
What an amazing catch from Vicky McFarlane.
Highlight reel. Never say yes to the jest. That was fantastic. Sarasota can make it a push for home. This is 400 herself. 13 strikeouts for Gabby Snyder and one of the best pitching performances we've seen this season. What a fantastic grab by Emma Burridge. Climbs the ladder and brings it down. Round this up the middle, that's going to score a run. Will it score two? Deep to left field. This is back, and this one is gone. It's magic from Madeline.
Good evening and welcome to West Beach in South Australia for live softball action on Wednesday night. Tonight's clash, Port Adelaide Magpies sitting in 4th place, looking for finals glory, coming up against 7th place Glenelg. James Harris here. Joining me tonight is Mark Cramp and Lee Hull. They're bringing you all the statewide super special comments. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, James. Good evening, Lee. How are you?
Good evening, James and Mark.
Well, how's this weather? Lee, you've told me, you give me a crazy stat. We called a game 39 degrees on Saturday. It's Wednesday night, so just 4 days later.
21 degrees, it's dropped 20 degrees. It's
well, it was,
crazy.
It was 21 at the hottest part of the day.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be 21 now, James. No, it's a decided change in the temperature. Has dropped a little.
Feels like minus 11. Player comfort out there is a little low as we see all the players with their long-sleeved undershirts on. And we even saw some of the Glenelg players wearing puffy vest jackets and snow ski jackets, etc. So Arctic conditions tonight here at West Beach. However, there's no clouds, so there's no threat of rain. It is clear. There is a little bit of breeze, so it should be good conditions for softball. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, 4th place Port Adelaide, if they win tonight, will leapfrog Sturt and go into 3rd.
Well, Port Adelaide will be looking for that win. They were, I don't want to say disappointing on the weekend, but they didn't have the best game, did they, James? Lee, they let themselves down, and they'll be ready to make amends today and try and get that position back.
They certainly will, Mark, and they should come out fired up tonight. You'd expect a quick response.
Well, it is the Glenelg Rebels versus the Port Magpies, and Glenelg Rebels will kick things off for us. They're batting first, and leading off for the Rebels is Bree McGee, who watches this first one go straight through the centre. So no troubles for Sutherland Finch tonight. She's straight into the strike zone.
Well, she gives us a wry smile and looked at her team and said, there you go, there's the zone again. So I'm back.
And a big swing and a miss from McGee, and gee, that's going to do the confidence for Sutherland Finch. Absolutely what she needs, particularly this end of the season as well. For our viewers at home that didn't see it, struggled to find the strike zone a little bit on Saturday against West Torrens, and the class of the Eagles just showed Sutherland Finch, who exposed it just a little bit more than what she would have liked. She threw to 9 batters without registering an out before she was brought out of the game.
Well, that'd be something that she wouldn't be used to, and as McGee goes after that one, a little high, but killed it off and good enough to get back to it. That'd be something that she wouldn't be used to this season, but West Torrens, they didn't let up, did they? They didn't take the foot off the pedal or off the throat, and they got a few runs on board early.
Certainly did. In 2 innings, 9 runs and 7 runs. That's a lot of runs in 2 innings of softball. What it did do was keep the Port Adelaide Magpies out in the field for an eternity. I think West Torrens were in the field for a maximum of about 15 or 16 minutes.
Well, Sutherland Finch still ahead of the count here against Glenelg lead-off Bree McGee. She watches that one through the edge of the strike zone for a standing strikeout. So good catching and good calling there from Abby Mossman. We'll go through the Port Adelaide lineup in just a moment. Caitlin Carroll hitting 2 for the Rebels.
Well, they're always the tough one to leave, aren't they, when you're sitting outside like that? But it clipped the corner. and did the job. Well, that's a good piece. She runs that one out.
Ella Forrester.
Ella Forrester, yes. Picked that up, not too cleanly, but regained it on the throw and beat her out by about 3 or 4 good paces. But Caitlin Carroll got a good piece of that one.
Yeah, good piece of the ball. She's been one of the standout hitters for the Rebels this season. I think she's hitting about 278 to 280 for the season. And yeah, good piece of the ball, but grounds out to Ella Forrester.
That'll do the whole Port Adelaide team the world of good coming off the back of the game, where they've just got some play in the field. They've made it out, and now they'll just move on and they'll get back into their rhythm. Yeah,
they certainly will. So Tash we welcome back. First game I think since Christmas, and she was able to stretch out and make that out from Ella. The ball was hit reasonably hard, so she knocked it to the ground, as you mentioned, Mark, and made the out. So 2 down.
Yeah, Sasha Penglace, the hitter for Glenelg, batting 3, is behind in the count early here. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and as you said, Lee, welcome back to Tash Straps. Timely welcome back as Penglace grounds out to third base. Ella Forrester in the action in the hot corner early on this evening. Now there is another game being played tonight, Seacombe Tigers versus West Torrens Eagles on Diamond 2, so we'll get an update for you as soon as they're available.
Does that surprise anybody? 2 5-3s. Ella Forrester in the hot seat there in the first innings. Is that Sutherland Finch just warming up, finding her spot, slowing down a little bit? We haven't got the gun on her tonight, but they seemed to jump on her a little bit there, Lee.
Yeah, they did. Good signs for the Rebels. Weren't able to get anybody on base, but that may come as the night progresses. But Ella was up to it. Ella looked a little bit out of it on Saturday. I think the heat got to her. She wasn't the only one. A lot of players were feeling the heat, especially those that spent their time in the field.
Yep.
Well, we'll go through the Port Adelaide defensive lineup in the next change of innings. What is going to be interesting is when Lee, I'll get you to give us the Glenelg lineup. There's some interesting changes.
There certainly is, and I'll go through the lineup for their defensive positions. James, defending the dirt, it's Caitlin Carroll at first, and Courtney Shepherd's gone to third base. That's interesting. The people in the pivot positions, Brianna McGee at second and Barb Skipova at shortstop. The battery is Sasha Penglace to Montana Edwards. That remains as normal. Sasha's sister Tamika is playing at left field. Regan Lambert, of course, at centre field. And Jade Downs comes in at right field. They have 2 bench sitters. They are Ashley Conway, who I haven't seen before, Sky Downs, and Amber Dodd-Mobius is batting DP for Barb Skipova.
Yeah, names missing from that lineup are Alicia and Taylor Mead. Any word on those guys, Lee?
No word at all. I was meant to ask the question, James, but I didn't. So it'll be interesting to see where they are. Maybe they've got another commitment.
Well, here we go. We are going to get things going here with
look at the focus.
Yeah, with one of the more exciting players of the competition, and yeah, surprisingly, it was a good call actually, Mark. She is focused tonight, isn't she? Well, there's that smile.
Look, yeah, she loves a laugh, right? She loves a laugh, and she seems to be the character of the team. But I've watched. Look at the front of her top. She may have been practicing slides before the game. I don't know, but she really loves it.
She didn't get a play, did she, in the field? So
no, she's been practicing her slide, I reckon. I would. She's done a few of those stolen bases in the last few games. She's really warming up to finals.
You come here and you've never seen a game of softball before, you'd be seeing Vicky McFarlane out on base somewhere, sometime. And the majority of time she scores when she's out on the bases.
Yeah, you don't want to get her out at the second base. You know she's going to get a little bit further than that. She doesn't like to be left out there very much at all.
Well, she's having another good season in the Adelaide competition. 366 batting average. Only been struck out twice in the season, and is one of the more threatening base runners, as my 2 colour commentators have mentioned. Statewide super special comments from the gentleman. Another play to third base, and this time round It's Glenelg's Courtney Shepherd up to the task, and she fires it across for the first out.
Well, that was a surprising move that we saw Courtney Shepherd at third base, you said, Lee, and she scooped that one up. A little bit hesitant, but she scooped it up and regained it and made the throw across to first base.
I'm not as surprised at all, Mark, because I've seen her at shortstop. She's a young player, finding her way, and that was a very good play to beat Vicky.
Well, maybe that's the ploy, James, is you just move the rotate them around a bit. We see Barb over there at short. They've rotated them around a little bit. Is that a tactic now that knowing that how good that Magpies can hit? Or
Alicia Mead's been one of their better players for the season playing at third base. That's what we're going to see is an opposite field shot. And Emily Catuzzo, who's moved up the batting order a little bit, up to number 2 in the order, gets the ball through the gap in the infield, out to right field, and the first base runner of the game.
Well, Emily will get a lot of heart out of that because she's been elevated, as you mentioned, James, to the number 2 hitting position. So now it's Tash Strapp, see if she remembers how to bat.
Well, interestingly enough, all of the first 3 batters for Port Adelaide, guys, have watched the first pitch. Now, Butch Sims, very aggressive coaching style. We've seen it all season. We saw it with the under-17 girls as well. A lot of the batters swinging first pitch. Well, Tash Straps gets a good piece of this ball. Back-to-back shots to right field. Catuzzo just off the base, and Skipova maybe a little out of position. Fails to make the tag in time. So back-to-back hits for Port, and they threaten. Welcome back, Tash Straps with a single.
That was a nice hit out to right field there, and opposite field. They're the ones that are going to get you. Sasha's not throwing that hard, so they're placement hits, aren't they? I think they're finding the spot. So.
And with Sasha's pitching, you just need to be more patient. Just wait for it. There's nothing wrong. There's not a crime to hit the ball late to opposite field, and those 2 hits were terrific hits.
Take nothing away.
Rita Mayer pops this one up, and an infield fly. Oh, the catch is taken by Montana Edwards. Fortunately, Kevin Tannebring wasn't caught out of position there because he went nowhere. He didn't know where that ball went. Let's have a look at the statewide super replay. He turns his back. He's looking for the ball. Didn't even realise.
Oh,
he was reaching for the extra ball.
Yeah, you might as well catch that one if you don't get this one.
2 out. And Katie Sullivan-Finch.
Well, I'll just go around the umpires for you, James, if you like. It's Kevin KT Tannebring at plate. On first base, it's David 180B Datsun. And at third base, it's Damien Baby Blue Macaulay.
Well, you come up with some interesting nicknames, Lee. And, well, I like the 180B Datsun. That's a good one. Yeah. Here we go. Katie Sullivan-Finch for the Magpies. She's proven herself to be a handful for opposition teams with the bat in hand, hitting .302. She's had as many strikeouts as she has hits, so she's all or nothing a little bit, isn't she, Sullivan-Finch?
I think she's been a bit disappointing with the batting.
7 of her hits, extra base hits.
Yeah, well, now will be a good time for an extra base hit for at least 1 run.
I tell you what, there's a fear that this ball will not land if she gets on it. This could go a long way, Lee. I don't want to jinx anybody, but she's setting up. She wants to make amends for the weekend. It wasn't all her fault, don't get me wrong.
No. All she needs to do is land it on the green out there, and the 2 runs will score.
Well, that piece of the ball will score at least 1. Round comes Tash Straps. Well, a bit of miscommunication there from the Glenelg defence. We'll see Sullivan-Finch stand up at third. What probably should have been a single to the left field turned into a 2-run triple for Sullivan-Finch. The first 2 runs of the game.
Yeah, well, that was, they just caught him napping a little bit, I think, Glenelg. The throw came in okay, but there was no cut-off and or the catcher. So we watch it on the statewide super replay here. She gasses it through, which is no dramas. Fantastic hit. The runner's round, and then see how that, everyone sort of just watched it go.
Sasha was in a very interesting position, I thought.
The pitcher needs to get out of the play.
Yeah, out of the play, get out of the diamond there, and let the ball go through to the catcher.
You're 100% correct, guys. She should have come right down to the back of the net and supported it.
However, first base place as the cutoff, and she's not a regular first base, so she probably didn't know her position. You got someone playing shortstop that doesn't normally play short. She's out of position, so it really does play with
point
your...
you made, James, because Caitlin's not used to playing at first. Hasn't done so for maybe a couple of seasons, I think.
Not the best of the business for no reason, eh?
Correct. Talia George now up to bat. She's one of my favourites in the Port lineup. Good to see her back. She's in the DP position. She's done quite well, I would have thought, in outfield. Maybe they're just giving a couple of people another try. She'll pop this one up into foul territory. She's going to get another life. This one lands in between Shepherd and Skopova. And that's the Talia George we know, isn't it? She can get her hands to the outside ball, but we also saw the first pitch. She pulled it to right field. So can hit both sides of the diamond here.
Maybe this one goes up the middle.
Good hands and a good take. Shoestring catch from Skopova. And Glenelg Rebels get out of the bottom of the first, but they've given up 2 runs thanks to Katie Sutherland Finch.
Well, I tell you what, it wasn't far off being up the centre, Lee. Very good call. She adjusted, didn't she? She adjusted her swings and almost came up with the goods and scored Sutherland Finch, and that would have made it very interesting.
Well,
but
the pitcher like Sasha's pace, you can just show a bit more patience and hit the ball to whatever part of the diamond you want to. Right, going around the Magpies defensive side of things, the battery, the hyphenator Katie Sutherland Finch pitching to Abby Mossman. At first base, Tash Straps. At third base, Ella Forrester. And the shortstop is Vicky McFarlane, and second base is Jess Neves. The outfield from left to right, defending the grass, is Emily Cattuso. Charlize Callahan's gone from left to centre, and the usual right fielder, Rita Meyer, or Meyer, as James calls her, is in her rightful position.
Meyer the Flyer.
No, that's Metro Golden Meyer, or Meyer the Flyer.
it sounds like you're about to call the race 9 at Goulburn.
I could do too. If I had a cup of tea, it might help. The bench setters for the Magpies, Maddie Matchkey, Georgia Murphy, Larissa Tarasenko, Paris Callahan, and Belinda Stansfield. That's correct, Belinda Stansfield.
Well, we are about to get into the second innings. I will take this opportunity just to remind our viewers that we'll take a break from the broadcast for a week or so, guys. We don't have another game until Saturday week as Sutherland Finch gets things going in the second innings. Tash Traps nearly gets that one in foul territory. Saw the fence at the last moment and just pulled out of that one. So a life for the Glenelg hitter. Oh, as my paper goes flying everywhere. No, I was just saying how we've got the Junior State Championships this weekend, and we've got no games as we go into finals next Wednesday. So the next broadcast that you will see, thanks to Spacequake Sports, will be Saturday the 16th. It'll be Glenelg Rebels. We'll see them again in action against the Seacombe Tigers for the final minor round game before we head into the final series, guys. I can't remember a final series that would have been this close.
It's fantastic, and it's been like this for the majority of the season, hasn't it?
It's been fantastic. This is as a nice strike out there by Sutherland Finch. Sees Tamika swinging and going down. This is my first season, as we all know, but what a season. It's very exciting. You would have seen 1 or 2 in your time, Lee. James, I don't think you've ever not seen a season of softball. How good is it? We've seen a season where 1v the bottom 8 or whatever it was, and 7, and it's an upset, or 1v2, and it's
like somebody wrote the script for this season, Mark, and it's not over with yet.
Yeah, we'll be able to, perhaps give us a few more insights as we progress through this game, and then in the lead up to the finals as well. But it'll be interesting to see everyone's take on how the finals are shaping up, and then how we go. But back to the action now, and it's Montana Edwards, one of the young stars of the competition, still in the under-19 age group. She's been around for a while now. And almost a check swing on the outside edge. So
I think I said this last week. I like Montana Edwards. She's developing really, really well, isn't she? That was a strong first swing at the ball. She pushed her hands at that one and sort of watched it go out. She's prepping up early here. And again, check. See, she just has that maturity about her as a batter, I think.
yeah, plenty of experience with some youth Aussie squads over the last couple of years. Did have most of last year off through Glenelg fever, but she's come back with a vengeance this season. Oh, that one was in the opposite batter's box, but Edwards will go down looking on that occasion, and 2 quick outs, and up to bat now is Regan Lambert.
Unusual to see Regan down so low, I would have thought. Batting 6, maybe it's for a reason.
Well, we spoke to her mum just a little earlier before the game, and she said that she's a little ill at the moment. So maybe if the Rebels had a full team tonight, maybe she would have been able to sit off. But
missed, yeah, that's fair enough.
Hands up the hand a little bit for a more controlled swing from Lambert. She watches this one through high for a ball, so 2 balls and 1 strike. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Very disciplined batters, both the Lambert girls. Just had a late swing at that change up there, sort of watched it, has a bit of a giggle to herself and realised what it was in the latter half of the swing. But they're very disciplined batters, aren't they? Both girls.
Swing and a miss. So Lambert goes down swinging on this occasion. She'll be back though later in the game for another try at that one. Yes, a state under 23 representative, Regan. She played in the in all senior, in all junior grades, 17s and 19s in the past as well. And shout out to Tanner. We missed him last week when we were speaking, and he'll know what I mean there. So no trouble there at all for Port Adelaide. 3 strikeouts for Port Adelaide and Sutherland Finch, and Glenelg Rebels really do have their work cut out for them if they want to firstly win the game, but they've got to stay in the game now, and they've got to hold the Port Adelaide offence here to no runs.
Well, we're on 7, 8, 9 for Port Adelaide, but they're the danger. We say it all the time. They're the danger batters. You got Jess, Ella Forrester, and now I'm saying Jess because I don't know how to pronounce the last one. I get in trouble. Is it Neves? Neves?
Well, I've known her for years, and it was Neves, but.
We're getting the confirmation to our right from our man David Muggleton. Neves is the correct pronunciation,
okay.
but because we're Aussies, we might say Neves.
Yeah, Jess Neves.
I'm going to speak to my lawyer shortly, I tell you.
Jess Neves up the bat now. And watches this one through for a called strike.
And a talented batter in her own right too.
She's a talented sportswoman. She's a very good soccer player as well.
Heard that. I think you told me.
Oh. We've got to come up with some new material then, as she watches this one low for a ball. Well, it's worked for Lee his whole career.
He's been recycling. Oh, nice. We love him.
And she gets a good piece of this ball. Skopova keeps her body in her glove. Probably wasn't down low enough, and she got herself into a good position. Good footwork, but the glove work has a little bit to work on, and Neves will arrive safely on the error from the shortstop. So good start to the inning from Port Adelaide.
Yeah, she got there early enough, James. We never like to harp on, the bad things or anything like that everybody does. But she got there, the positives are she got there very early and read the ball. She just didn't clean it. You have her legs apart enough to clean it and then take that step towards third base.
Certainly did, and I would have been going bunt here, I would think, but maybe not. Perhaps Mr. Sims is going to let his batters hit and get in some hitting form.
Ground ball to Shepard. She plays the lead runner, Good play from Bree McGee, good cover, and Neves is forced out at second. So very good defensive play for the Rebels. Good sign for the future. Statewide Super Replay.
That was a good play. She got that, thought about it early too, James, and got the ball across early enough. Just couldn't relay it for the out. But Ella Forrester finds herself on first base, and Glenelg got the out. As that one flies up, and there's a bit of confusion, but Brown McGee takes that comfortably in the end. She gives it a very good chase and didn't take her eyes off it. So all of a sudden, we're looking at 2 out with Ella still on first, but Dangerous brings us back up to the top of the innings with Vicky McFarlane.
Well, I haven't seen a running bunt from Vicky since the game 1 of the season, so I may be predicting one here.
Gets a great piece of the ball, rips it into left field.
I tell you what, there was a fair bit on that bunt.
Where are we?
Well, statewide Super Replay will show it here. You don't want to hang the ball over the strike zone like that to McFarlane. That one cannoned off Shepherd's glove, so she did good to evade a line drive there and nearly took a great catch.
I was just about to say, John, how good was that? She didn't flinch, she didn't dive, she still went at it, but ducked, but great reflexes. Ooh, that has gone a long way foul.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Courtney was having a little nap then, she certainly woke up quickly enough. That was motoring, wasn't it?
That was gone. That was a fantastic hit, and good on her.
Well, a single to McFarlane, and then we see an absolute line drive to left field in foul territory for Catuzzo. So the aggression on this Port Adelaide lineup is now showing through here on the first pitch. So first time round they were patient, second time round, and a second hit of the game to Catuzzo. It gets underneath the right fielder. It's going to score 2. Forrester scores, McFarlane scores, Catuzzo's going to try to score. She touches them all. 3-run shot to Catuzzo.
Well, that was a good piece of the ball. Congratulations, great base running. A little bit disappointing there. Went under 2 gloves almost. McGee almost got her glove to her. If you watch on the statewide Super Replay, here she goes and makes a very good attempt at it and almost has it charged in from Jade, but unfortunately just got a glove over the top of her, or the ball stayed down. Good chase though in the end there.
Feel a bit sorry for Jade there, but the problem is when the ball's been hit that hard, second time by Emily now, that your responsibility is to drop down, stop the ball going any further, because it will go further for 2 more runs. So making a total of 3 on the shot.
We've seen it time and time again, haven't we, Lee? Like you can hit the ball and it could just pop up, it could stay low. You don't know what it's going to do. But she gave a very, very good chase there in the end.
That's actually a very good defensive play from Sasha Penglaze as she chases after that chopper. Always tough to defend. Statewide Super Replay show it. The hard swing. You'll be on your heels after seeing a swing like this, and charges in to grab it, and in one motion fields it, throws it over to Bree McGee, who controls that for the 3rd out of the inning.
Geez, that was moving too to first from Sasha Penglaze, wasn't it? She really gave that a go on. And I tell you what, Bree McGee did very well to hang on to that.
Yeah.
Yes, Bree McGee is a noted first base player over the years, and so she knows how to get to the position and make the outs. Very good play.
Yeah, I can see that. Sutherland Finch is looking very relaxed right now, and she's just going through her motions, isn't she?
Well, maybe the weather's got something to do with it. I'm sure it has some bearing on it.
Maybe it's the cool weather that she loves, but it's a different person tonight, isn't it? We're seeing a different Sutherland Finch. We're seeing a different team. But I'll tell you who else is different tonight is Glenelg. They are playing much better than they did last week. apart from that innings there, we had that bit of an error, but their whole all-round effort so far in the field is much better than it was last week, and they're going to grow out of this, aren't they?
They certainly are, and Port Adelaide, they'll gain a lot from this if they win this game, and their chance here now, as you can see by the score, they will finish in 3rd position irrespective of the last game of the year, because Sturt are finished, they are 1 point in front, Port get 2 points, they go ahead of them.
So I'm new as we see another one just clip the corner there, and that's starting off with 2 strikes. Courtney Shepherd just having a bit of a look, trying to find her spot there. I'll just ask you a question about the finals in a second if you don't mind. Oh, she swings and misses at a high one. Sutherland Finch set her up for that one, so that's another K2 there. Tell me about the final series, guys. The first time I'm seeing the girls finals this year. Top 4. Does 1v2, 3v4? How does that work? How does the system work for those that are playing at home? We don't know who they are yet, but we just know it's happening.
Well, just quickly, we'll let you know that the finals start on Wednesday night, the 20th of March. So that's semi-final 1, as we see Sutherland Finch going up against Downs. And that is the 3rd versus 4th game. So likely, or in all likelihood, it'll be the Port Adelaide versus Sturt game. And then on Saturday,
that'll be a cracker.
23rd, 1v2, we'll see more than likely Walkerville versus West Torrens. We just don't know who's going to finish where. The loser of that game will play the winner of the first final, again on a Wednesday night, and then the grand final is the winner of the preliminary and the winner of the second semi. So top 4 and top 2 get the double chance. So strikeout for Downs, and that is the first out of the inning.
Well, wowee, that Port and yeah, so that's her 6th, Sutherland Finch, coming back tonight very strongly, and starting off well against Amber Dodd Mobius. I tell you, that will be a cracking game. Lee, you're laughing at my pronunciations. That's why I don't do lineups anymore. I've had too much feedback.
Oh, the 9 pitch.
I hit the ball, I throw the ball. That's my potential.
All right, guys. So we've seen this once already this season from Sutherland Finch. We saw it last season with Gabby Snyder. She's thrown 8 pitches for 8 strikes so far in the inning. Strikeout, 9 pitches, 9 strikes, 3 strikeouts for Sutherland Finch in that inning. She struck out the last 6 batters, so she has found some form.
Well, wowee, they don't miss a beat here, and that's some good pitching. That is some very good pitching. What were we talking about before James came and gave us that amazing stat? And I've lost my train of thought, James, but that's amazing. 9 pitches, 9 strikes.
It's for the 2nd time this season she's done it, and we did see Gabby Snyder do it first, of course, last year. So another highlight reel for Sutherland Finch. She has had quite a few of them, and we are very excited to see what she's got to offer come finals time. Now, thanks to MK Services SA, we can go around the grounds, start of the 5th inning. So after 4 complete, West Torrens over Seacombe, 5 runs to 0. We do know that Kim Rita has gone home early with the ACL injury, but we do know that Jade Peterson is pitching tonight, Steph Trzynski pitching for West Torrens. So interesting to see those results coming through. So that was special thanks to MK Services SA. Now, we will have the statewide Super Volunteer of the Week. It is overdue, so we're expecting to see that person sooner rather than later. And that is very special thanks to statewide Super. So back to the action. We can see now the bottom of the 3rd inning. Sasha Penglace is pitching for the Rebels. Rita Mayer up to bat for Port Adelaide, and it's another one of these players that wears this sand shoes when she plays.
I don't know if, well, I'm sure you have. You would have heard the mic'd up Vicky McFarlane thanks to Spacequake Sports, and it was quite funny. as that one, watch your head there, James, that comes up. There was a runner, that was wearing sand shoes that stole on Vicky McFarlane. And then Vicky said to her, I can't believe you just stole on me in sand shoes. It was quite funny at the time, probably not as funny as if you're listening at home right now.
As Rita watches that one go through high in the zone. Now, as mentioned, gentlemen, we have the statewide Super Volunteer of the Week joining us here, and he is from the Port Magpies Club, and it is Steve Callahan. Welcome, Steve. I'm going to call the action as we go here. Rita Meyer puts this one deep out to left field. Good catch taken. And that is the first out of the innings. Sorry I interrupted you there, Steve Callahan.
James.
Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you very much.
Now, Steve, you've been nominated by your club, Port Adelaide, for Volunteer of the Year. Listen to this one, Mark. Steve is currently the longest serving Port Adelaide committee member, acknowledged as one of the best club people, junior coordinator and team manager for multiple teams, senior coordinator, equipment officer and grounds person. Umpires every week. He's the first to arrive with the equipment. He sets up the shade tents. He's the last to arrive when he packs it all up again at the end of the day. Steve, a labour of love. You just love doing, you just love helping out.
You're making me feel tired just thinking about it, actually. But no, for sure, softball's such an exciting sport, and our club's in a big building phase at the moment. So absolutely, it's you know, we've all got our roles to play, and a lot of us do more than one thing in the club, but people like Roo Weaver, you know, our longest serving life member, he sets a fair pace for everyone to follow. He's always out here, and you know, whether it's fundraising or whatever it is, everyone's just got to do their bit.
Now, you mentioned Roo Weaver, a servant of both Port Adelaide and Softball SA. He just tirelessly gives back to the game, and of course we honour him by naming the Volunteer of the Year award after him. So you're a statewide Super Volunteer of the Week. The Roo Weaver Volunteer of the Year award will be presented at our awards later in the year. So Talia George for Port Adelaide puts this one out into right field, advancing Vicky McFarlane. So you did mention, Steve, that Port Adelaide is in a building phase, and gee, you must be very excited to see the likes of Katie Sutherland-Finch wearing the Magpies uniform and you know, helping you through this phase, this building phase, because we know that she's coaching some juniors as well.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got the weekend in front of the Junior State Championships, and both Katie and Vicky are lead coaches for two teams up there with assistance of other officials, but they've given so much back to the club. And I mean, it's not only that they're brilliant role models, they're, you know, because they're elite athletes and they do such a fantastic job on the diamond, but the exciting thing about them is just who they are. They're really great people, and you know, they always volunteer to do things. They engage with all the kids, and so, you know, obviously we feel exceptionally fortunate to have both of them with us.
Yeah, we love it when people give back to the sport, and you know, they're obviously so grateful for the opportunity to come to Adelaide and Australia to play the sport that they love and that we all love, that it's not an imposition for them to give back, and just shows the character of the young ladies as well. So good to see. Jess Neves puts this one up, and Bree McGee moves around to take a good catch. Runners won't advance.
Lots of character and a great sense of humour. I mean, I think both of them have, you know, I think Katie's difficult game on the weekend, but, you know, like you said, they handle things with good humour. And you move on to a game like tonight where obviously it's not 40 degrees and things are going right.
Yeah, well, again, another show of character. Sutherland Finch, you've just mentioned, she's come back tonight after Saturday with a very impressive 7 strikeouts from the first 9 batters that she's faced, including last innings. I'm not sure if you heard or picked it up.
No,
9 pitches, 3 batters, 3 strikeouts.
Fantastic. No, when she's informed, fantastic.
Ella Forrester pops this one up to right field. The catch is taken, and that'll end the inning. So we'll get a bit more of an opportunity to speak to this week's statewide Super Volunteer of the Week, Steve Callahan, from the Port Adelaide Magpies Softball Club. It must fill you with such enthusiasm. Port Adelaide have never won an Adelaide competition premiership in the A grade. They have won a C grade premiership just in recent years and some junior premierships, but never in the A grade. As a matter of fact, I think the highest they've finished is maybe a third or a fourth a couple of years back.
I think that's right. Well, absolutely. I mean, it is obviously every club's goal to take out a premiership. But you know what? It's also the journey to get there. We're really focusing on bringing up all our, talented juniors, and getting the team to settle into a formidable outfit. And being competitive and playing a good, solid game is it's got to be the journey as well as the destination. Taking out premiership is not everything for our club, but we really want to make sure that the players enjoy it and the club's developing at a fair rate.
What a great response. It's not just about the journey or the destination. Some great words, some wise words there. Mark, we love it when we can hear a good comment. We might have to use that one.
I do like it, but what I'm impressed about is your resume. Looking at all the things that you serve, you are serving the club for. It makes me feel a little bit guilty over the 20-odd years that I've been playing. I'm only starting now to return the serve, and James can laugh. He's laughing because I'm now, as this one pops up and taken comfortably there. So I'm now starting to give back because I'm a little bit older. I've been playing since I was 15. I'm a little bit older than that now. And I've realised what people like you really do to a club. You get up early, and the man to my right does the same thing for us and for this community. So you get up every morning on the Sundays, you get the diamonds ready, you look after the games, you get the management out, the emails. It's not all the little things that you see on the day, it's the stuff at night as well. It's people like you that let me play for 20-something years, and I really, really appreciate that. That resume really hit home because without that, we can't do what we love.
Absolutely, and like I said about Rue, my wife Linda, who's the president of Port Adelaide Softball Club, Rue was her coach when she was 9 years old out here at softball, and Rue is still coaching C grade now.
15 years later.
That's right. That's right. So there's always opportunities to give and put back, but it's an important thing, and we aim to have a club culture where that is. It's an expectation, but if everyone does it, it makes it a lot easier.
All right, I'm not going to let you get away without a tough question, though. All right, Katie Sutherland-Finch, 200 plus strikeouts so far for the season, taking Port Adelaide into finals. She's going to be back next year?
Absolutely. And I'll let you know, her father, who's a very experienced American coach, is coming out to give a bit of advice and take in the atmosphere of Australia. So we're excited about the whole family coming out, to be honest with you.
Amazing, amazing. So you've heard it here first. Spacequake Sports exclusive. Sutherland-Finch will be back in the black and white next year. So look, Steve, it's been a pleasure to have you, and thank you for joining us. We do have a certificate for you. Thank you very much to Statewide Super for their support of softball in South Australia, and of course for the Volunteer of the Week. So Steve,
thank you very much, Statewide Super. Appreciate that. Good on you, James. Thanks.
Thank you,
Steve. Congratulations.
Thanks. Good on you. Thanks.
Well, gentlemen, the Statewide Super Volunteer of the Week just brings us someone special every week to our broadcast, and our softball community, as you said, Mark, just can't go on without the likes of Steve Callahan. So well done to Statewide Super and to Steve Callahan.
Well, it hits home, doesn't it, how much these people actually do. When you see it in black and white in front of you, it makes you think, Lee, about how privileged we are to come to tournaments or come to games and just know that it's done. And it's not until you start giving back that you go, wowee, these people have really put in.
Well, that wowee, I like that. I won't be using it, but Steve, he just gave us, like you said, Mark, a terrific insight about the Port Adelaide Softball Club. Now, I was part of that club a few years ago, coaching, and I enjoyed my time there. And it's great to see them getting success now. It just helps, doesn't it?
This one just gets away from Abby Mossman, but she butters up and fires it across to Tash Straps for the third out. So yet another strikeout for Sutherland Finch, and Port Adelaide are in cruise control, aren't they, guys?
Wow.
So, well, let's just go back to the action in that innings. Thanks, guys, for keeping your eye on the game there. We had that strikeout was the last out, but we also saw a strikeout to Caitlin Carroll and a pop-up to first base from Bree McGee. So Sutherland Finch is 12 batters up, 12 batters down. So danger signs for Sturt and all the other teams that may come up against Port Adelaide in the final series, because they are showing great signs heading into the finals tonight.
And it just emphasises the fact what we spoke about before, boys, that it's going to be a tight go, the finals. And can we wait? No, we can't. It won't be long before it'll be on us, and they'll be knock them down, stand them up again, knock them down, dust yourself off, and keep going.
I'm going to ask a question that we haven't prepared for, and because I don't normally prepare. Sturt versus Port Adelaide. The last game was a cracker where Sturt got home in the end there by a run, I think it was, come back from behind. What have the other games been like? They've been pretty bloody close, if memory serves me correct, and you're diving through your notes there, Lee, because that's the quality of man that you are. You'd have it written down there somewhere. But they've all been cracker games. There's a little bit of a rivalry starting. Do I feel a rivalry starting between those two clubs, or is it some Port Adelaide versus someone else? But there's something there between them, and they don't mind going hard at each other at all.
Port Adelaide Sturt, you're saying, Mark?
Yeah.
4-0 Port, 3-2 Port, 9-2 Sturt, 5-4 Sturt.
Wow,
and that was
50,
when they
50.
Yeah, the wheels fell off in that particular innings, and people were throwing the ball around as if their arms were cold and they wanted to warm them up, I think.
Well, that's a 50-50 going into the finals if they stay the way that we think they're going to go, and that's straight up the middle.
Great piece of the ball from Charlize Callahan. She has recently been named in the Aussie under-15 squad, so plenty of talent running deep in the order for Port Adelaide Magpies. That's their number 9 hitter, bringing up to bat Vicky McFarlane.
There's Callahans everywhere, isn't there, really? And look at the class of the young player. And obviously Coach Sims is happy with her playing in the outfield in the A grade.
Pretty sure that's her first A grade hit as well, guys. So that will be one for Charlize to remember as she gets that single up the middle.
Wow.
And a
you always
lead-off
remember
batter.
your first one. Mark, can you remember yours?
McFarlane drills this out to left field.
To be honest
Callahan
with you,
advances to second.
it was similar to that one, I think, Lee, if memory serves me correct, or it may have went a little bit further. But good on Vicky there. That was a very, very nice swing, and it came off hard. She's hitting the ball well tonight. She fired that one down to Courtney Shepherd at third base. Last time it rocketed through. That was moving too, that one.
Emily Catuzzo now up to bat. 2 runners on, both from singles on first and second for the Magpies. Catuzzo watches this one. Lee, Mark's just being a little modest there. He played in the back in the day of the state league, the National League. His first turn at bat was a home run, Lee. First pitch he faced, I think.
Yeah, that was the signal I was giving.
Mark, we don't need you being modest. There's 2 of us here already, and that comes under that
Catuzzo with
heading.
a third hit of the ball game. She's got to get another RBI as Callahan slides in and scores another run. Be careful when you throw that ball around with Vicky McFarlane on third.
I just hit you in the arm there. I'm sorry, James, because I saw the throw going over to 2, and exactly what you just said. Vicky McFarlane was going, well, I can beat that throw if you make it, and she just came back.
That's when she took off from third on that throw from Edwards over to second.
Yeah, and Barb had her.
Yeah, because Catuzzo had rounded first, threatened to go to second, thought better of it when Edwards threw the ball over, but then it was McFarlane. She is hopping around out there like a cat in a hot tin roof. She does not stand still when she's on the bases.
And we talked about Emily Catuzzo being elevated to position number 2 in the batting, and she's hit 3 balls out of 3 to the outfield. Can't ask for much more than that.
So 6-0 is the damage here. as Port Adelaide, with none out, have runners at the corners. Straps gets after this one, fouls it off. Just dropped her hands right at the last moment on that one, and it just forced her to get under the ball and fouled it off. It started out looking like a strong, solid swing, but...
How long has she had off, James? We welcome her back tonight, and she's had a couple of months off, hasn't she? Because I saw her start...
Been to Bali and Western Australia, so I believe. So she's had a good rest, and we saw that with her first turn at bat. She's also a very good fielder, and she can pitch, so she can give Katie a bit of a chop out if need be.
Well, she puts this one foul as well, guys. She's probably one of the more underrated players in the competition. She's played in the under-17 state team, under-19 state team, under-23 state team. National champion, of course, in 2015. She was in a youth Aussie squad as well. Former Stars player last year as well, under the great KJ, Kerry Johansson, and had a year off nationals this year, but played 23s in last winter. So
yes,
very talented player.
And her dad's the assistant coach since Christmas at first base, Ray.
Great piece of the ball. This one's going to be out of reach of the right fielder Downs. McFarlane will score easily from third. Catuzzo rounds second and stands up at third. Runner still at the corners with none out for the Magpies. As you can see, just the communication between father and daughter at first base there as the statewide super replay just gets away from Downs.
Just tails away in the last minute there, because I thought she had, I thought Downs had that covered, and it sort of just tails away and dips in a bit. But we've got a 1-3 split again. It's sort of, they just sort of rotate and swap spots. Now Tash Straps, her dad, not a bad little googly chucker in his time either. Can throw a few wonky ones down.
Yeah, from the left side as well, Ray Jock Straps, as he's affectionately known, and former state representative himself. But if you ask me, Tash got her talent from her mother. And
well, we didn't ask you, but thanks in any case.
With Rita Mayer up to bat, she actually represents the game-ending run. If she scores, with these two runners scoring as well, we've got an early end to the game. Just like that.
Well, anything's possible. We've seen an infield home run. We've seen infield triples here tonight. But again, Sasha Pringlaze is not throwing a bad game. It's the field may have let her down. The bounce, they tail away. These offside, you know, like hits Lee. They're not doing anything wrong. It's just that nothing's happening for them. Is that fair?
I think that's perfectly fair, Mark.
Well, Montana,
she's doing her job. She's not going to blow you away with speed. So she's just hoping that they'll hit the ball in the air.
Look, take Hills and Sturt, for example. They take their best catcher out from behind the plate and put them into the field where the majority of the balls are going. I think Montana Edwards would be one of their better infielders. However, they need that experience behind the plate. So it's a catch-22. What do? Do you put your best catcher in behind the plate, or do you put your best fielder out there where the balls are going?
Okay, I'm going to ask you another question. That was a good question, but we just saw her throw that to Catuzzo and hit it right in the back. You got Katie Sutherland Finch up the bat. Do you sacrifice one run, or do you put the potential of a game-ending hit?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at this point. It's Sutherland Finch is throwing 12 batters for 12 outs. Glenelg aren't playing for anything anymore. They're way out of contention for finals, and it could just be a quick night for them. There's no need to walk a runner at this point.
100% correct, James. No point in it now. There'll come a game where somebody will do it. That'll be in the finals.
Well, no outs in the bottom of the fourth. 7 runs to 0, and Sutherland Finch check swings this, fouls off, just catches the end of the bat, and 2 balls, 1 strike. So a good piece of this ball. If it can get to the fence, it could potentially score 2, maybe 3 runs, and that's what they need here to end the game in the bottom of the fourth.
I don't think she was too disappointed that touched the... That she gets another couple of looks at the ball here, Lee. She'd love to finish this on. Oh, she gives another one out there.
They come off the...
And that's what she's saying. She's like, no, umpire, I'm good to stay here.
They come off the knob of the bat.
Yeah, you're watching the statewide super replay. She sort of just throws her hands at it and just says, oh, maybe.
That's not easy to do. I hope we do see a statewide super replay of that foul ball. That's one of the more
she
skilled
needs
foul
to
balls
throw,
you'll see.
That's right. She needs to throw the thick end of the bat at the ball.
She's done it again.
I'll take that one, she says.
I don't think I've seen a
Statewide super
bat
replay
be hit that
shows
many times.
that was the first foul.
Look at her. She's like, no,
It didn't hit me.
No, I'm good to stay here. Oh, I'm good to stay here. And then she got hit with the next one.
Well, the next one did hit her, and so we see the bases score. The bases move around one base. The 8th run scores, and Talia George lines out to shortstop Skopova on a good play, looking for that double play. So that is the first out of the inning. Game-ending run on second base. Rita Mayer, the flyer. And statewide super replay will show Talia George a good piece of the ball, opposite field, and Skopova was probably 2 or 3 steps up the middle there as well, and that's why she was able to take that catch.
She was able to get it, yeah. Quick hands, but it just went in the dirt, and Sutherland Finch was up to it. She knew what she had to do, get back there early. They love to get dirty, don't they? The Port Adelaide girls, they get back and they slide.
Certainly do. Now, black's a good colour to hide the dirt.
As Neves watches this one inside for a ball.
No emotion in the box here by Neves. Just up there to do a job, isn't she?
Yeah, good honest contributor for the Magpies and formerly of Glenelg. However, she did always start at Port Adelaide, didn't she? So.
Right, went home.
3 balls the count. Another walk would put the game-ending run on third here with a 3-0 count. Oh, she gets after this one, pops up into foul territory, just foul, and out of reach for Caitlin Carroll. Looked like she was all over that one.
She gave that a good chase. You know what? I can't criticise the commitment of the girls when they chase the ball. Like when that one went past Downs and it went, she chased it hard. You got Caitlin Carroll running that one to the nth degree. They're 8 runs down, bottom of the 4th, loaded bases, but they're still giving 100%, aren't they?
That's all you can ask as a coach, for sure, Mark. Very good point. Excellent point.
3-1 the count. Neves will get a walk. The 9th run of the game will cross the plate. Tash straps in a good welcome return. And it'll be good for the Port Magpies team as well for a bit more stability and depth in their batting lineup as they come into final. So they'll be happy to know that she has found form as soon as she returns. Ella Forrester has a chance to win the game.
And again, like we see at the start of the game, they're just watching a couple of pitches. They're not afraid to stand there and watch a few and back themselves in the latter on, or the latter half of the count, are they?
Certainly not.
Ground ball, and the play has to be at home. Obstruction is the call. Meyer comes back to touch home plate, and that will do it for the game. So what has happened there? A ground ball from Ella Forrester to Barb Skopova. And the play to home, here's the statewide super replay. The play needed to be at home. That was the game-saving run, but Edwards couldn't pick it up on the bounce. Obstruction was the call, so Meyer would be safe. And that is the ball game. So, gentlemen, 55 minutes, 11-0 is the scoreline in favour of the Port Magpies as they run-rule the Rebels. Geez, it's been a tough back half of the year for them, hasn't it?
It was. It's a disappointing end of the season for them, I think. Like you said a little bit earlier, they're not really playing for much now, except for a little bit of pride and a little bit more of a bit of experience. On Port Adelaide, on the other hand, they were out tonight to make amends. They weren't here to make friends or make anyone feel special or warm, were they? Sutherland Finch wanted to make a point. She made the point. 12 from 12, I think it was. And they're a dominant force, and they really want to make a mark here in the finals.
Yes, they certainly. There's not much else you can say about that. Tasha's Sasha Penglaze, that is, she battled manfully, or in this case, womanly. But what else can you do? You know, you pitch the ball up, you hope the ball's hit in the air or to a fielder on the ground and make some outs, and just the pressure of the Magpies. They were going to come back hard. They did.
How many strikeouts did we get from Southern Finch tonight, guys? Just as you count them up, Lee. She was great as she pitched eight strikeouts from the 12 batters. So she is an easy selection for the statewide Super Performer of the evening. Statewide Super, very great supporters of women's softball in South Australia. And we thank them very much for their support. Sutherland Finch Statewide Super Performer of the Week. Guys, we're not too far away from finals, and when we start saying finals, we start talking about awards nights as well. As a graphic comes up on our screen, Port were perfect. We knew that, 12 batters, 12 outs. We've been saying that, and we're speaking of awards now. It's the obvious choice, isn't it? It's the perfect formula for the Kath Coral Medal, which is the A-grade Women's Player of the Year, selected by umpire votes. The pitcher who is dominant, who has thrown 200 plus strikeouts, but she's the team's leading hitter as well. She's hitting .302, she's had 15 RBIs, she's had 13 hits, to go along with, you know, a couple of perfect games. You know, we saw that 18 strikeout game as well from earlier in the year. She is going to rack up the votes. We saw Gabby Snyder with 40 last year, and she's got that exact same formula as Snyder. I'd say Snyder's got her on her batting, but I'd say Sutherland Finch has got the pitching over Snyder.
I was just about to say, Lee, you can probably comment here, comment as well, is that who else has come over and made such an impact in a shorter period of time or in one season?
Monica Perry is a definite one. She came over for 3 seasons. Her first season, I think she threw something ridiculous, like 299 strikeouts in the season. No one will ever come close to that again. Sutherland Finch is close. Like, she's in the 200. She's nowhere near 299 though. But then you look at the likes of Gabby Schneider, Chelsea Cohen as well for Walkerville, but it was and those players that we've just mentioned, Monica Perry, Chelsea Cohen, Gabby Snyder, have won the last 3 Kath Coral medals as well. So that is the formula for a most valuable player, is a dominant pitcher who can swing the bat. All 3 of those girls did that. Monica perhaps later on, or later in the 3 years that she came, was mostly just a pitcher, but she could swing the bat as well.
Yeah, she could, but I think she's the best pitcher I've seen come here of the imports. But you make a valid point, James, about what are they looking for the Kath Coral medal? Pitchers that can also bat, and let's face it, Gabby Snyder last year, she won that Kath Coral medal by the length of the straight. It was Daylight was 2nd, 3rd and 4th.
Oh, actually, Jordan Lambert was 2nd. She was quite a few votes behind.
There was quite a few. However, I couldn't count them.
But it was a great season from Lambert, and it just goes to show how dominant Snyder was to be able to beat Lambert in a season that she had last year. Guys, we can talk about awards as we progress closer to the grand final. Tonight's game was a blowout. 12 batters faced from Sutherland Finch, 12 outs, and Glenelg were mercied in 4 innings, 11 runs to nil. Mark, were you just about to say something?
Oh, no, look, I was going to say the only thing longer than the gap was your speech at that night.
And what a cracker it was too. Well, I waited 44 years. I thought, how am I going to compile that, cut that down, condense it down to 5 minutes? I only had 1 sheet of paper. Thank goodness I didn't bring a toilet roll.
It wasn't. It was in our defence. It was an A3 piece of paper folded up 15 times.
Mark, you were talking about Lee's induction into the Softball SA Life membership, so we congratulate him once again on that accomplishment. And guys, that'll just about wrap things up for us here at West Beach in the Adelaide Club competition. We're over in under an hour. It was the Port Magpies. Too good for the Glenelg Rebels, 11 runs to nil. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Lee.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks to our broadcast partners, Statewide Super, MC Sportswear, MK Services SA, Basequake Sports, and of course Softball SA. We will see you in 10 days, Saturday week, for our next broadcast. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.